What if I told you that while US job growth just hit a 4-month low of only 107,000 new positions, emerging markets are absolutely crushing it with 20% gains, and that's not even the most surprising news from this week's global finance roller coaster. Welcome back to Global Finance Weekly. I'm your host here in InfoExpress, and in the next minutes we're diving deep into the economic stories that are reshaping markets worldwide. From central bank decisions that could affect your investments to emerging market surprises that nobody saw coming, this week has been absolutely wild for international finance. So grab your coffee, hit that subscribe button, and let's decode what these economic shifts mean for your money and the global economy. Let's start with the elephant in the room. The US labor market is showing some serious warning signs. We're talking about just 107,000 new jobs created in the past 4 months of 2025. To put that in perspective, that's barely enough to keep up with population growth, let alone drive the robust economic expansion we've been expecting. This isn't just a number on a spreadsheet. This is real people, real families, and real economic uncertainty. When job creation slows down this dramatically, it raises fundamental questions about where the global economy is headed in the second half of 2025. But here's where it gets interesting. While the US is struggling with employment, other parts of the world are telling a completely different story. Plot twist. While developed markets are showing signs of fatigue, emerging markets are having what can only be described as a stellar year. We're talking about global emerging debt returning nearly 9%. That's double the 4.5% return of US Treasuries, and it gets better. The MSCI Emerging Markets Index is up 20% this year. Compare that to the 14% rise in developed markets and you start to see a pattern emerging. The economic center of gravity is shifting, and it's happening faster than most analysts predicted. This isn't just about numbers. This represents a fundamental shift in where smart money is flowing and where future growth is expected to come from. Meanwhile, in the halls of central banking power, we're seeing a delicate balancing act that would make a tightrope walker nervous. The European Central Bank just kept interest rates unchanged this week, and ECB President Christine Lagarde's every word is being dissected like ancient scripture. Why? Because central bankers are trying to thread the needle between rising inflation, modest growth, and shifting global trade dynamics. It's like trying to steer a massive ship through a storm while blindfolded. One wrong move and the consequences ripple across global markets. Here's where things get really interesting, and honestly, a bit concerning. The International Monetary Fund is projecting global growth at 3.3% for both 2025 and 2026. Sounds stable, right? But if you dig a little deeper, you'll find that other forecasts are telling a different story. Some are calling for growth to weaken to just 2.3% in 2025. That's not just a statistical difference, that's the difference between economic expansion and potential stagnation. And when you factor in rising trade tensions and what economists are calling heightened global uncertainty, the picture becomes even more complex. Speaking of trade tensions, this is perhaps the most critical factor to watch. All emerging market regions are facing challenging outlooks, and growth forecasts for 2025 have been downgraded across all regions. This isn't happening in isolation, it's the direct result of rising trade tensions and global uncertainty. What does this mean for you? Whether you're an investor, a business owner, or just someone trying to understand where the global economy is headed, these trade dynamics are reshaping everything from supply chains to investment strategies. Now, before we wrap up, here's what I want you to do. And honestly, this is more important than ever given everything we've just discussed. These economic shifts we've analyzed today aren't just abstract concepts happening in distant boardrooms. They're affecting real markets, real investments, and real opportunities right now. And your response to this information could make a significant difference in your financial future. First, if you found value in this deep dive analysis, and I mean really found value, smash that subscribe button and absolutely ring the notification bell. Here's why this matters. We're living through one of the most dynamic and unpredictable periods in international finance that we've seen in decades. The traditional rules are being rewritten, and staying informed isn't just helpful, it's essential for protecting and growing your wealth. But here's what I really want from you. Engage with this content. Drop a comment below telling me which of these stories surprised you the most, but more importantly, tell me how it's affecting your thinking about investments, career decisions, or business plans. Was it the emerging market surge that caught your attention, the US job market concerns, the central bank policy complexities, or maybe the trade tension implications? I read every single comment, and here's something most YouTubers won't tell you. Your insights often shape future episodes. Some of the best analysis we've done has come from viewer questions and perspectives that I hadn't considered. Third, and this could be the most valuable thing you do today, share this video with 3 people who need to understand what's happening in the global economy right now. Whether it's a friend who's investing, a family member planning their retirement, a colleague making business decisions, or someone who's just trying to understand why their job market feels different, this information could be genuinely game-changing for them. And here's a bonus action for those of you who are really serious about staying ahead of these trends. Hit me up in the comments with specific questions about how these global changes might affect your particular situation. I can't give personalized financial advice, but I can address common themes and concerns in future episodes. As we wrap up this comprehensive look at this week's international economy and finance developments, let's step back and see the bigger picture, because what we're witnessing isn't just a collection of separate economic events, it's the emergence of a fundamentally different global economic order. The US labor market slowdown isn't just about employment numbers, it's about the changing nature of economic growth in developed economies. The emerging market surge isn't just about better returns, it's about a historic shift in where economic dynamism and opportunity are located. The central bank policy puzzles aren't just about interest rates, they're about the increasing complexity of managing economies in an interconnected but fragmented world. The growth projection disagreements aren't just about forecasting accuracy, they're about the unprecedented uncertainty we're facing as traditional economic models struggle to capture our new reality. And the trade tension implications aren't just about tariffs and trade deals, they're about the potential restructuring of the entire global economic system. Here's what I want you to remember. We're not just living through a typical business cycle with some ups and downs that will eventually return to normal. We're living through a transformation. The economic world that emerges from this period is going to look fundamentally different from the one we've known. This creates both enormous risks and incredible opportunities. The people who understand these changes, who adapt their strategies, who position themselves correctly, they're going to thrive in this new environment. But those who ignore these signals, who assume things will just return to the way they were, who stick with old strategies in a new world, they're going to struggle. The question isn't whether change is coming, it's already here. The question isn't whether this affects you, it absolutely does. The real question is, are you going to be a passive observer of these historic changes, or are you going to be an active participant who understands the trends, spots the opportunities, and positions yourself to succeed? This is why we do Global Finance Weekly. This is why we dig deep into the data, analyze the trends, and connect the dots that others miss. Because in a world of rapid change, information isn't just power, it's protection, opportunity, and competitive advantage all rolled into one. Here in InfoExpress, this has been Global Finance Weekly, and I'll see you next week with another deep dive into the stories that are reshaping our global economy. Between now and then, keep watching, keep learning, keep questioning the conventional wisdom, and most importantly, keep positioning yourself for success in this new economic reality. Until next week, stay informed, stay curious, and remember, the future belongs to those who see it coming. See you next week.